Did you see my new mug?
Oh, I have not seen your new mug.
I have a new mug.
Hello, by the way. Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Monday, June 28th. It is almost July.
It's a little hard to drink out of. See, there's windows on the side.
Oh, it's like a
van.
It's a van.
Some kind of a van. See, it has little baby windows.
When did you get this? I've never seen this one.
I don't know, a couple months ago. It's been sitting in the cupboard because there wasn't room.
Follow your heart, it says
Follow
on the
your
inside.
heart. I don't know that I like that phrase, but I thought the little van thing was cute.
Yeah, that is kind of
No,
cool.
I didn't have room in the cupboard when I got it.
Surprise.
So I stuck it in another cupboard, and then I just saw it this morning. I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot I haven't used that yet. Yay.
That's good. Rhoda.
Hi, Rhoda.
Oh, my goodness. We haven't seen you in so long. Good
know. How
morning.
you
Hope you're
doing?
doing well. Oh, but this is, I got to say, yesterday was
tired.
just a great day.
It was good.
Yeah, we're both a little tired. But
Yeah,
yesterday
too
was a
much time
great
in
day.
the sun. Mad Wines.
Wow. And Mon. Wow. Everybody's at home today. This is awesome. Or
Hey.
watching from work. We're not going to tell anybody.
Okay, it was just last week that we were in Dallas.
I know that was crazy.
It was
just
weird.
a week ago. That seems like so long ago. And it was
I
just a
know.
week.
It was like 1 week ago. Hey, Angie. Hey, you have your own little thing.
Yeah, Angie is on YouTube and Mon is on
Ah.
Facebook. So we get the
Don't know if you guys
Coburns
are
on-
together or not, but you know.
So, but no, church I thought was really encouraging.
It was good.
I enjoyed the time.
Yep.
Mon's retired. He can watch whenever. That's awesome.
Yep.
But, I just love those two stories of how following Jesus is so much better than following rules. How
Oh, yeah.
Following Jesus
I'm
leads
not a
to
rule
joy.
follower.
Following Jesus leads to freedom. That we enjoy Sabbath
Ooh,
as a gift, not be enslaved to Sabbath.
I wrote something down and I can't remember my notes, but something about joy and freedom come from Jesus. Okay, that's not as profound as
You
was
got it.
in
You
my
nailed
head.
it. but I love how you come to the end of that passage and it says that the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath, and it just all kind of crescendos to this, the supremacy of Christ.
Crescendos.
That's a great word, isn't it?
Eh.
It's kind of like the grand finale,
I don't know what my hair is doing today.
because we get to see fireworks this year because 4th of July
Okay,
is now
I'm
open.
excited about fireworks.
And you know how you get to the end of the fireworks and it's just the grand finale all over the place. And to me, that's kind of what verse 28 feels like. You get to the end of this, there's joy in following Jesus, there's freedom in following Jesus. And then you get to the end and here comes the big grand finale. Jesus is Lord even of the Sabbath. And it's just a great thing to come to the end of that and remember.
What does that mean? Even of the Sabbath?
Well, he's the Lord of everything, even the Sabbath. So he's the one that gets to make the rules for
Okay.
the Sabbath. So
That
that's-
makes more sense because that
Yeah.
whole even of the Sabbath, it's like, because to us, the Sabbath isn't this huge holy thing,
right. Well,
So it
it's-
doesn't mean as much
right.
now than it did
We're
then.
we're not basing our
Because
acceptance
then
by
it was
God on
like, oh
following
my
all these
gosh,
rules.
this big deal.
Yeah. So anyway, and then we got to go to the beach, and that was awesome.
It was such a beautiful day, and it was fun being with everybody and kind of chit chatting, and we got to see
Carter being
Carter get
baptized.
baptized.
Yep, that was awesome.
That was super cool.
And he did a great job sharing his
Oh,
story.
it was
And
okay. I love special place in my heart for youth anyway. Love youth. Students, whatever they want to be called at this point. People younger than me.
that's most of society. It's-
Stop.
well, we're the same age, so
I'm older than you.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay,
Everyone.
so see our little anyway, what was I even saying?
Just your heart for youth. And
Oh,
you're there on the beach.
yes. And like just so much passion. They've got and it was cool because Jacob led some worship stuff and he had just gotten back from a service.
The Love Richmond with Andre.
Yeah, an outreach kind of thing that he was with. And I mean he was like fired up. And then, the kids are all like, yay. And it was just cool.
It was cool. So
it was really cool being a part of that.
So what ended up happening is, we got there and then like at 4:30, somewhere around there, we did the baptisms. And then after the baptisms, a lot of people started, after the baptism, a lot of people, started going to dinner and those kinds of things. And the youth group got together. And that's when I was glad we stayed because it was awesome.
I was
to
going to
hear
stay
that.
till like the last person left because it's the beach.
Yes. And we did get fish and chips at the end of the night.
And I found a
that
shell.
was good too. So,
yeah. Ooh, the fish and chips were good. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of grand finales.
So next month, the end of July, come to the beach with us.
Can I mention the other grand finale?
Grand finale. Sorry.
So I don't know how many of you know James Reichwald Schmidt, but they buried him in the sand,
Me, I know him.
standing up.
It was hilarious.
And the problem is he had his shoes on, so they couldn't get him out because his shoes were stuck way down in the sand. So finally, he came out of his shoes, but then we had this problem that his shoes are buried some like 4 or 5 feet in the sand. So it became a major excavation.
Yes.
Indiana Jones would have been proud of these guys for digging up these shoes there on the beach. But it was just a fun, awesome way to end the day. And James, I'm glad you got your shoes back. I'm glad you survived. Wow. Crazy ending to the day.
But yeah, just good being in community again. I mean, I don't know. I felt kind of for the first time yesterday in a while, just kind of normal again. I don't know if that makes sense, but just, that was the first time that, we didn't have to have a mask mandate at church because it was lifted the 15th, but I wasn't at church that because we were in Dallas.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. It was like, so it was like, kind of like, oh, wow, it's kind of normal, but kind of not. But it's just, we're in this weird limbo zone, I feel like. Because even traveling to Dallas was weird because, that's the first time I've actually flown since the pandemic. And it's this whole, since the pandemic, I mean, I started a book yesterday that I just got. It's like a pre-release kind of thing that I have access to. Okay, they're referencing the pandemic in this book. It's like, oh, post-pandemic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I mean, this is like this major event that we lived through, and I'm still kind of processing it all. I don't know. So I've just been kind of like processing and figuring out things. And
go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to mean to cut you off there.
No, just that, I don't know. And I've been reading through the Bible chronologically. It's an I don't like doing that like a lot, but once every couple of years or so, just to see things in like the order they happened. But it's kind of confusing right now because I'm reading about the kings of Israel before captivity, but it flips back and forth between Chronicles and Kings, and it's like I'm reading the same thing twice because sometimes. But it's interesting how the kings. I don't remember my point, but anyway, just reading through to see how God, he's faithful and he's to be trusted. But then these stupid kings kept like worshiping these other gods. I'm like, you guys are idiots. But then, I mean, we kind of do the same thing. We put our trust in things other than God. And that's basically what they were doing. And, a lot of times I'll put my trust in how I feel or security of money or security of people or things like that instead of putting my security in God. And it's like, oh, it just kind of hit me the other day that that's kind of what they were doing too. And I don't remember how that was relating to the pandemic thing, but just wanted to share that with you.
Well, that's a good thing to share.
I don't know.
It feels to me like we're having this joy of things being opened. It was funny. Alex the other day.
And California is a lot weirder than other places too.
But so. Alex used the analogy the other day of like a cage of doves, and you open the cage and they they all fly in different directions. And he said, this is kind of what's happening right now.
Although some of them stay in the cage.
Some do.
Because they're comfortable there. And it's like, oh.
But it's interesting because it's almost like we have this joy of things being lifted, and even not just restrictions being lifted, but the joy of lower cases.
Yeah,
and
I mean, there hasn't been many cases in our areas at all.
Not as many relatives being sick, and grieving with those who are dying, and so many things. But it feels like we're experiencing the joy of maybe the pandemic is coming to an end. We're experiencing the joy of taking off our mask, fewer restrictions, the joy of being able to live as vaccinated people. I mean, all of these joys. But at the same time, it's also a season of just kind of grief, like realizing how hard, like you're saying, you just look back and
it's like, wow, we just lived through that.
Realizing how hard it was and the things that were lost in the midst of that. And I don't know, one of the stories that just came to my mind this morning, I think two of the most powerful words in scripture are Jesus wept. And that story, I mean, that's at the tomb of Lazarus. And here's Jesus who has just declared, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me shall live, even if he dies. And then he's weeping. And so it's just kind of this, I see that as this joy of who Jesus is and the reality of the resurrection and all that's true, but it's also just mixed with the sorrow of grieving the loss of his friend and grieving the pain that others are feeling, grieving the effects of sin. I mean, here's Jesus just
he
weeping
felt the
over
weight
all
of
of
all
these
of that.
things. So he knew the truth, he knew the hope, he knew the joy that comes in following Jesus, the freedom in
But
following
he
Jesus.
still wept.
But he
And
still wept.
that's really cool, because sometimes I feel bad about feeling all these feelings, because the whole post-pandemic anxiety, I mean, there's a lot of post-pandemic stuff that's
it's
real.
a thing. Yep.
But it's okay. Feeling the feelings is not bad. It's, how you react to them. Hiding in my house, not a great idea. So I need to get out and be with people. But yeah, it's okay to feel deeply and to hurt and to reflect, because like David reflected a lot on hard things he went through, but then he ends all that stuff with, but God is good. And here's how I've seen God's faithfulness. And so I don't know, I just thought of this now. One of these things I want to do this week is just write down some ways in the last year and a half, 2 years that God has been faithful. Because really yesterday was like the first, 2 years from the first Sunday you preached at the bridge so we've been here exactly 2 years.
2 years.
Which it's been a whirlwind of 2 years.
2 years.
So yeah, I want to take some time this week, and I don't know if anybody wants to do that also with me, but just to reflect on, here are things that have been hard, but here are ways that I've seen God's faithfulness, because it's good to make those memorials of, because even like the Israelites, God told them, stack up the stones, remember, do these feasts so that you'll remember, fast so you'll remember. And sometimes we forget to remember. And it's good to remember, what, this was really hard, but here's how God was faithful. And I want to remember that, because there's going to be times that are going to be really hard again. Yeah. And it's good to always look back and say, you know what, God's faithful. He can be trusted. He's my rock. He's my stronghold. And here are ways in the past that he's done that.
And Mon just made a great point. He said, in our remembering and reflecting, we got to remember the kids, the young people, the kids, the high school. This has been so hard. It's been hard for everyone, but it has taken a real toll.
Yeah. Because you look back on your life and you're like, oh yeah, high school, this and that. And these kids have this big hole where they didn't get those experiences, but also just to have to they lived through a pandemic. As an adult, it's been really hard, but wow. Kids are going to look back and be like, wow, we lived through this. This was hard. And
so that's kind of where we are. This joy of the cage opening with the grieving of stuff we've lost. But Jesus meets us in that. And I think that's the word for today. And you know what?
God is faithful always, no matter what.
And I was just thinking, and we need to wrap up. First of all, because our time is up, and also because somebody's cooking bacon in our kitchen.
I don't think it's for you. But I haven't had breakfast yet, so.
I haven't either. So
I don't usually eat really breakfast till late.
So anyway, as we were coming to the bridge 2 years ago, there was a worship song that was just on our minds and hearts a lot. And it just applies so much now.
Goodness of God.
All my life, you have been faithful. All my life, you have been so good. With every breath that I am able,
sing it.
I will sing of the goodness of God. So let's make that the last word for today. I think so. Yeah. We'll make that the last word for today. Let's sing. Mon wants to make bacon the last word of the day, but we'll say let's and sing of the goodness of God today.
So listen to that song.
Have a great day, everybody. God bless. We'll see you real soon.